Hello, this is Max Drake. I'd like to talk to you about creating PDFs for models. This is not the actual model that I'm actually working in, but I just want to use it to demonstrate. One of the things that I actually want to do within the models is to actually have a front cover sheet here. And when I was starting to do front cover sheets, I suddenly realized I actually wanted to put some information on it. Now, one of the things with the front cover sheets in a model is that if you're actually in a file or something, if you're coming through a browser and you actually put an image at the front, you can actually view it, whereas the actual 3D model you can't see in the browser because the browsers are quite limited because they want files. They'll let you do this. But what I can actually then do on these is to give a bit of information about the model. So I've got to click on the image to actually open up the model. In fact, I don't need to do that in this one because I've got them as separate pages coming through here. I've got a scaling issue though. I'm not too worried about this one. But then there's also a thing here that says for navigation tutorials inside the 3D PDF, you can click on a little element inside here and it'll fire up and do. I checked this out to see whether they're testing. So this is one where I've actually got a model on top of one of my websites. So I'm actually pulling it across from the website and you can see there's some information. So this one has the front cover, which is basically a 2D thing with an image. But what I actually wanted was a bit of information so that I could tell a bit of a story. I could also say what you're likely to expect to see in the model and what the site code and the block code is. And this one's a structural model, so I've actually just shown the structure through here with a little bit of logo branding about with a product and things like that. So I've been developing this part over time. Now there's a couple of processes to actually do that. Within Revit, I'm using a PDF creator called Simlab PDF exporter. Within the PDF settings, you can do a couple of things. Now I just want to highlight these. One of them here is that you can embed an image at the front. So you can select an image, but you have to do that for each specific PDF. So as a workflow, you've actually got to create the PDF combined with that front image combined within it and then start setting up the images. So I found that workflow was a little bit slow. Also within here, there's a templating thing, which I'll just talk about now because it's in the same point of this. One of the things which I was doing, an earlier setup that I actually had, I actually ended up putting a couple of pages at the back of Adobe Acrobat so that you could actually see how to use the 3D PDFs, but they're kind of hard to read and stuff like that. So now what I've actually done in here is I've actually made a clickable version so that it will take you to a YouTube video on how to navigate through a 3D PDF. So for people who haven't got experience in this, this allows them to do that. So if I just go back and I just go into zoom thing, so this is the 3D area and then this is the rest of the sheet that actually has my name and some information on here. Also the viewing, I actually find viewing through Adobe Reader allows you to do all of the things that I talk about. Some of the other readers, PDF readers, don't let you view 3D PDFs and things like that. So Adobe Reader is free, so why not download it and use that one? Then you've got all the features that you actually need. So that's within the template of the actual product itself, and so you can set up a template which I use for the sheets, and then within the 3D I can also add an image to the front. But I actually found it was a really crappy workflow from that point of view. So what I actually did was I'd actually just go into Revit. I would do an export the current view. I would then let it set up a lot of the views. So if you do this one here, as long as you're actually in a 3D view, it will create a lot of views from different camera angles that are kind of set in there by default. So when we pop through and do this, and I just show you what comes through, this is going to be a little bit slow. It asks you for a file of where you're going to do, and then it asks you for, and I do hope I am in the 3D viewing option here. I must be, it's going a bit slow. Anyway, we might come back to that. Oh, so here it is. So if I just come into here, Oh no, it's still generating something there, and I go export current view. It'll then ask me for a file. I just call this XXX, who cares what it is, and I just put it into download because I don't want it in my other files, causes a bit of confusion. It then comes through the second part of it. Hopefully it will come through, and yep, there it's working away, and it'll give you a couple of options. You can either actually just keep this view, or you can now that doesn't seem to be doing it. Export current view. Let's just see if that won't do it again. It'll either choose just to let you have this view, or it has a whole load of preset views, which is all of the elevations, and also all the elevations, top plan, and top plan, elevations, all the isometrics of it, and also a few other ones. So here it says select the cameras that you want, and it gives you all of these ones as presets already, or you can just do the export active view. I tend to actually just take them all, and then in Adobe Acrobat I delete all the ones and set them up again, because when they actually create the views, a couple of things happen. First of all, when they come through and create the views, a lot of them are zoomed out quite a way. I'm just going to cancel out of that one. And if we come back to that other one there, maybe that is the one that I'm looking at. If that was the ballet structure to begin with, this is, if I go to the starter view, you see a lot of them is quite small on the screen, and yet so I actually have to go through and create them so that they come through. Oh, this is getting quite slow. Maybe I've got too many things open. Let's just dogging this up a bit. I actually zoom right in. So I recreate the view. So I'd actually go in and I'd set up a view. So let's just say I want to zoom in a bit more on that one there. And this is within Adobe Acrobat. If I just zoom in a little bit further, and it's going very, very slow on here. Oh, here's my zoom. I'm just going to click the zoom tool. Just going to zoom in there, and then within Adobe Acrobat I can manage views. I can create a new view, and I can say this one here, and I'll call it XXXXX or whatever, and rename it, and then that view comes in, and then I can sort it as to ones I want. So for the original ones that it creates, I delete a lot of those ones out, because I create a whole lot of simple ones like first floor plan, ground floor plan, and then I create a few cross sections and long sections through the building that are quite easy to navigate all the way through, just so that you get a feel for how the building actually looks. So that's what I do. Now the first one, when I actually came through and initially was doing that splash screen that coming through, one of the things with doing it with the splash screen within the PDF, and one of the ways that I was doing that was I was using Snagit to actually create these splash screens. But one of the things with these splash screens inside Snagit is that you couldn't update them. So if I wanted to change that from structural 3D PDF to mechanical, I can't go back and re-edit that. While you've got it open inside Snagit, you can actually edit it, but as soon as you close Snagit and reopen it, that just becomes a frozen thing. So you'd actually have to block this text out in here and then rewrite other text, or rewrite this, or do something here and conceal it. And since I've spent a lot of time matching these ones up, so I ended up doing this Snagit ones and using Greenshot to actually grab an image to put in here. And I found it wasn't any use at all. So in the end, I actually used Gimp. And Gimp allows me to actually just isolate the features and go in and edit each one individually, so that I can actually build these up, and then I can go in, because all of those texts, so if that one there, that piece of text which says electrical, I can actually go in there and I can edit that text and change that piece of text to something else. So therefore I can have electrical, mechanical, plumbing and things like that, and actually bring in different images and all sorts of things. So I can reset that up. So that was one of the learning things that I actually had on the images. The other thing which I had on the images was, this is another issue that I actually have. This is one of the original ones where I created this image and attached it through inside Revit. So inside here, this is the process where I actually, in the PDF settings, I'd actually chosen, that's going to be a bit slow again, I'd actually chosen an image inside here. So what actually happens if you generate an image inside here is this, if it only shows this. So that's the only thing that it shows, and I actually have to click on it, and then it will let me then go into the PDF. And sometimes it's still working as to try to open the one which you can do. So that can be quite slow. And I found now it's going to go into the 3D PDF model areas so that I can actually go through and start playing in that area and doing those. So I found that was a little bit slow. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up with a different process where, again, as soon as I go into the original, no, it should start closing a couple of these ones down. So now that I've given that example, I can close that down. So I can then go in and do a workflow where I can set up all of my views as the ones that I want, delete the original views of the ones that I don't want, and then I actually have the model in the form that I want it. So once I've got the model in the form that I want it, I can then add an image to the front of it. So on this one here, sorry, that isn't what I actually wanted to do. So I can save within Gimp, I can save that image across with all of the explanation, and if I want to tweak something or add something more, I can do it. So one of the things that you can do within the PDFs that I actually one that I've got here, and this one here, is that I can actually add that image to it. Now there's several ways that I can do this. One, I can use a create and do a PDF from file. So if I do create a PDF from file and I go and find myself, I'm just going to find an image anywhere. I'll find one of these images and I'm going to, I'll use that one there, and I'm going to use that one there, and I'm going to create an image from file. This is going to create this image, and I'm going to file, save as, and I'm just going to call it XXXXX, and it's there. It's there. Now if I add this to a now tools, I can actually add more pages. So I can insert pages from files. So if I insert another one, so if I just go into my ballet and get, we just say that one there because it isn't actually set up yet, so that's fine. And we're going to say put it after the last page, and we just go okay then, and then you'll see that it'll bring in that model as a second one through here. And when it does that, now this might actually be quite interesting. Taking its while to do that. I've got too many things open. So the first point that I was making, use Gimp, which is a free tool, rather than use Snagit or Greenshot to actually create your images at the front, because that way you can use them, especially if you're doing a whole lot of sets on the thing. So here it's brought it in, and then it's made it 2 of 2. So now one of the things which I can now do here is that I can just scroll up and scroll down straight away. So I don't need to click on the other one to do it. So that speeds up that process straight away. The other thing which is also really useful about this, if you do it this way round, no model selected, get in there, do something, is that if you've got instructions, one of the things with the ones where you create it with the image already inside the PDF at the beginning, if you actually want to add more text or something like that, you can actually just toss that one away. You can actually just go and extract that or delete that from the image and pull in another one. Now what I actually found when I was actually creating the images inside Gimp and other tools and things like that is because it's a graphics program, it actually wants the images in pixel sizes, whereas the actual PDFs are done on an A3 or an A2 or an A1 or A4 or whatever size that you want. So one's done by sheet size, which is in millimeters or centimeters or inches or whatever, and the other one is actually done by pixels. Now, what I was finding was when I was actually bringing in some of these things via pixels, the sheet size was different. Now, if I just go down to there, that's zooming at 67.3. If I go down to the next one, that's actually 67.3. So what I've actually done is that one's not right. What I ended up finding that I actually had to do, if I was actually just bringing the image in on its own, was that I would actually have an insert option of actually inserting a blank page. So what I'd actually do is I'd insert a blank page, and I'm actually just going to put it at first. And I put it into there, and then inside content editing, I would actually so we go to pages, we go to content editing, we go up to page 1. Oh no, it's gone before there. So there's a blank one, and then I would add the image. And that way, say if I just add that one as an image, we'd use that as a demonstration. It pulls that image in. I can actually just bring it into the sheet. Whoops, too enthusiastic there. And just scale it, because the pixels that I've actually got for the image are proportionally right for an A3 sheet. So I can actually just pull them down. So the image is proportionally height width as a ratio similar to what they are. So therefore, I can actually pull that in. And that means that all the sheet sizes are the same. So whereas in that initial one that I was showing on the web page here, where you look at page 1 of 2, this image is a lot bigger than this one here. I found I couldn't, within the PDF when I was creating them, bringing the image in as a PDF, I couldn't get it to scale correctly as the paper size. So the best one was to actually come in through that. So now as the workflow goes, first of all, I'd actually go into Revit. I would actually set up my views. I would color them as need be using VV, and I would actually just say, okay, then I want to highlight the casework. I might overwrite them and make them all red or something so that they stood out, and make it solid so that they were very bound. Now I've actually, the casework's not being shown at all, so it doesn't really matter here. But the other thing that I'd also do as well is things like walls. I would actually move the transparency down to about 85 or something like that. And so what that allows you to do, it was not going to show on this one because I'm showing complete. No, what do I actually want to do? I actually want show all. I think it's got a phasing issue through here, so one of the things coming through that, I think this is only showing you, maybe it's going to be later. Stuffed if I know. No, that's just grayed out everything. I don't know what I'd be messing around with that one, but anyway, what it would do would fade out the walls to make them a lot clearer. So what you'll find is in some of my PDFs, and I don't think I've got any here, this one here, I've made the walls a little bit more, sorry, I've got to go to some other ones through here, made the walls a bit transparent so that you're looking through. And this one here I've sliced off the back so it is not as busy, and again with the south elevation I've tried to simplify but also give some indication of what's in behind. So since this one is to do with electrical, you might want to see where the fittings are, and also you might, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong, I'm in there. Now if I'm in there, I can just pull that around and actually have a peek down into the thing and look where things are. And if I wanted to pan it back again. So, or if I go to ground floor plan, I can get some information on there. So what I actually find is that I find making walls transparent, making floors semi-transparent, allows you to look in, especially for things like services, so you've got an indication of where things are. And again, for the isometrics and things like that, those allow for a bit more exploring in some of the things that you're doing. So the takeaways that I want you to do, now the other thing that I've done on those is these links. So now I can actually just click on that link there and it will go and open up that YouTube video on how to actually run, how to navigate within the 3D PDF. So that's one of the things as well, which I think is quite good. So what this gives you at the end of the day, you've got your 3D PDF model, you've got a splash screen that shows up. So if you're even in a normal viewer, you will actually see those splash screens show up. So if I just touch that, that should be showing up there. No, it's not. It does some of the, like, it's not there, that's previewing. Now if I go preview there, it's previewing that. Whereas if I've actually got a 3D PDF, it's not previewing anything at all. So what this allows you to do is get a preview of what you're going, and it's also a taste of what the information is coming through. So again, that front sheet, which is the 2D sheet, I may develop further to put a lot more information on there, or maybe not. Again, the other thing within the model space, which I'm doing inside there, in the model space, I've got the hot links down here, so a downloadable link for Adobe Reader if you're trying to view things in something else. And I've also got the link to the video, and I've got a little bit of an explanation coming through here, and I've got the logo on each of the sheets coming through there. So this is one that is already automatically preset. So this one's generated all of these. Now, if I didn't want one of these ones here, like I didn't want that particular image, when I'm setting up the file inside Adobe Acrobat, I can actually go through and go delete that view. Go OK and go save, and that view has now disappeared. So this is the way that I use the presets, because a lot of them I find are quite good for like setting up plans. So when I got the plan, I've got the direct bird's eye view down there. I can through slices through the building with these ones here with the cross section, and if I do the cross section viewer, I can play with some of those things through there. So the takeaways from all of these is, and then that can be done in the x-axis, the y-axis, and the x-axis as well. So you can slice and dice it any way that you want, and you can get weird tilts and things like that on there that I don't really use. So it's making a lot of the information that you've got in 3D BIM models accessible in 3D PDF models, and also in a way that you can actually access that information quite easily using the splash screen to portray some information. The other thing that you could do is that you could put some extra text, so you could actually just have another sheet with a bit of text in here and giving a whole lot of information, like you might actually want to do. If I come down to page 3 where I've actually got the model in there, I can give a list of all of these views that I've actually got set up for all of this, that might be of help. It's just making the information a lot more accessible without being too noisy. You know, if you kind of overdevelop a lot of the information, it can maybe get a bit too intimidating. But what I'm trying to do is, and one of the reasons I'm splitting a lot of these models into their separate components, I will do a combined model with all of the information in there. But one of the things which it does allow you to do is that you can actually make smaller PDFs. So if somebody's got smaller, less RAM on their computer or whatever, they're not going to take ages to load up. Some of these files can be big. Some of them are actually in the gigabyte size, but you can look at these ones here for some of the structure ones and things like that. They're a lot bigger than what they need. So again, what you're trying to do is make the 3D PDFs open really quickly, and you're trying to put a lot of the information in there. One of the things which you can do is get a lot of the parametric data out of 3D PDFs. There's not that much in these particular ones, but I have got examples where I extract that stuff to Excel files. So anyway, I hope that's been of interest to you. Thank you very much for watching, and if it's been useful to you, can you please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much.